And Jackie, look who has decided to join us today.
Award-winning horticulturist at the Greater Des Moines Botanical Garden, Kelly Norris. So great to see you
Well, it's great to see you. I'm glad to be here this morning.
It's an honor to have you here, and we met in all sincerity because you're a busy man, and you've been traveling and receiving awards this year for some incredible work that you're finally being acknowledged for in many, many ways. So we appreciate you stopping by and saying hello.
Are you bulking up from having to carry all the hardware home?
Yeah, right. Yeah. You know, reinforcing the wall or something, right?
Yeah.
No, thank you. It's great to be here this morning.
Wonderful. Well, you're a talented man. We're very lucky to have you at the Greater Des Moines Botanical Garden, but we love talking about all the great things that are happening there. And even though summer might be coming towards an end, great things are happening over there besides the beautiful flowers and plants that we can continue to look at inside and outside, correct? Everything is still open and looking gorgeous?
Oh, the fall is one of my favorite times of the year. In fact, if I had to pick any one favorite month of the whole season, I think it's September. I'm not even kidding.
Why is that?
You know, it's finally nice enough to be outside. You know, it's not 90 degrees. The gardens are lush. They're kind of at their seasonal apex. You know, they're flowering. We're getting some fall color starting as the cool nights come in. It's just a really beautiful time in the garden. And so, you know, folks should just come out and see the garden, even though there's a lot of other stuff going on,
and for those people who have never stopped down, because I'm sure there's thousands of people that have driven by, they've seen the dome on 235, and they just kept on going. How big is the Greater Des Moines Botanical Garden?
Well, it's a 14-acre property, but
14 acres.
It's 14 acres, but we've developed 7 of it. So we've still got 7 acres of our master plan to realize. But when you park in the parking lot, that parking lot garden all the way to the wall of the walled garden, the cane garden in the back of the property, that's 7 acres. So you know we've got a really sizable experience for people to come see and enjoy when they visit, and it's just looking really great. Our team's done a fine job this year.
So besides the visuals and music that we're able to enjoy every once in a while, what else are we looking forward to?
Well, especially this Sunday, we've got a really unique opportunity. We're screening a film called 5 Seasons, The Gardens of Pete Outolf. Now, Pete Outolf may not be a household name exactly, but his work certainly are things that people have seen or heard of if they've traveled. If people have heard of the High Line in New York City or Millennium Park in Chicago. Pete's the garden designer that did those plantings that have gotten so much attention and have earned tons of awards and recognition for being such evocative, romantic, very natural-looking plantings. He's probably the world's most famous garden designer at this moment. He lives in the Netherlands, and he's done a lot of work, everywhere. Those are 2 of his signature projects in the US.
Just because I know nothing about him, but I've been to those gardens. Is he young? Because I feel like it's a young person that's inspiring newness into these cities.
He's been practicing for 40 years. And so this film is a way to sort of recap, in a lot of ways, the tremendous contributions he's made to public spaces all around the world. So we're really excited to air this. This is an independent film. It's won a number of awards, and this is a little new space for us. We've never done a film screening before, so we're giving it a shot and really wanting to get the word out. It's Sunday afternoon at 4 p.m. It's about a 90-minute film, and one of the things we're going to do after the film is yours truly is going to take folks on a walk of the garden and kind of show some of the similar concepts and ideas that we've put into play at the Botanical Garden that sort of mirror or in some ways borrow from the work of Pete Outolf.
In case you haven't been blessed enough to go to cities and see some of this work, the High Line in New York is one of my favorites because he basically took a railroad line, kind of like we have done, and turned into biking trails or walking paths. He turned those into walking paths and created these amazing gardens and artistry spots. And so you can go through these cities and literally walk up, because in New York, you either go down or up.
Good to get up, right?
Yeah, you get up and you get out of the city, and it's just you're in a garden basically, and you can walk along, and it's
It's a fantastic project. It's about a 2.5 mile converted rail line. It's this little park in the sky basically, and it's just these these really beautiful assortments of native plants and very kind of communal arrangements, and it's become it's actually the #1 tourist destination in New York City. More people go to the High Line than go to the Statue of Liberty every year.
They do?
So that in itself is something that's really cool, because this garden, this movement that sort of has followed his work has really had a tremendous impact on cities and places. And so I've seen the preview of it. It's going to be a really great film.
And this is the first time it's going to be shown in Iowa, right?
Yes, right. I think it's the first time it's been shown outside of Chicago in the Midwest. So we're really excited for people to come see it.
So where are we going to see this? Is it in one of the special rooms? Or are you doing it right in?
Well, it's going to be in the DuPont rooms back in the North Gallery of the Botanical Garden, 4 p.m. on this coming Sunday, the 16th.
Okay.
Sounds like a lot of fun. Now, how much is it going to cost to get in?
Tickets. you can buy. We recommend people buy tickets online, and ticket costs are there. I think we're going to have little refreshments and things like that going on, so people can come, kind of make an afternoon of it too. And then the lecture, the little walking tour, will follow the film that afternoon there.
Absolutely.
So we'll have the chance to sort of see the garden kind of in its evening light as it comes into it.
See, I like the fact that you're going to be able to see the film, and then you're going to walk them through the garden and say, okay, you remember this? You remember
Absolutely.
This?
Yeah. No, that's we thought, we could just show a film, but we could also then, try and tie it back to what we're doing. And although Mr. Adolf hasn't done any work on our property, he certainly had a tremendous influence on sort of contemporary garden design as it is. And so a lot of his principles and his ideas and ways of using plants are things that we very much prescribe to. And so we'd love to show people kind of what we're, a little taste of that right here in Des Moines.
Absolutely.
So.
It's being inspired by the fact that you can get away from the everyday and just kind of escape into something very beautiful like the Des Moines Botanical Garden. I know you said this is your favorite time of year just because everything's lush and it's nice outside, but what are we looking forward to other things happening at the garden?
The fall's a busy time for us. I mean, obviously bulb planting, as soon as it starts to cool off a little bit, it's going to be on our schedule. But as other programming goes, our annual symposium on October 20th is going to be something that people are going to want to put on their calendars. If you're really into gardening, if you're really into landscapes, or just really interested in all that discussion around that, our annual symposium on October 20th is sort of our signature opportunity to sort of convene that conversation.
That's coming up real quick, isn't it?
It is coming up quick. It's going to be October. I mean, it just doesn't believe it. The summer has flown by, but it's good to think about it.
You mentioned bulb planting, and for a lot of people, they're frightened to plant bulbs. They don't know what to do. They put them in wrong, and
pointy end up.
Pointy end up. Now, here's where I'm going with this. What if people said, you know what, I'm finally going to do this, and I want to do it right. If they come out for any of the events that you have, and you have a couple of extra minutes, we'd be able to sit down and say, okay, here's some tips for
Sure. No, we'll have bulbs for sale in our garden shop as well, and so a little assortment of them. And we're always happy to talk to people about that kind of thing too. Bulbs are great. A great garden can't exist without bulbs.
Bulbs are awesome because you plant them and forget them.
Truly, I mean, you think about daffodils. Daffodils outlive us, practically. The daffodils we plant, so long as they get good drainage.
Going back to the store and buying stuff the following year. That's the part I like the best.
And the thing with bulbs, I always say, is if 10's good, 100's probably better. I mean, it's all about scale. More is more when it comes to bulbs, and so we've got a couple 100,000, I think, on the property at this point because we just keep planting bulbs.
Just keep planting, and they just keep coming back. Do you have any advice for those of us, well, not me because I have no green thumb, but this time of year, when our gardens are kind of coming to an end, there are flower beds. I know mums are very popular right now, but is there anything else people can utilize right now in this time period so they can still have some flowers?
Asters, actually.
What?
So asters. They're native plants to this part of the world. We're kind of they're native all over the world, but the biggest one of the biggest centers of diversity is right here in the Midwest. They're fantastic natives. I love it. You can come down to the garden shop and buy some. We just got to.
Would you put them in hanging baskets? Because
put these in the ground.
In the ground.
Yep.
Will they come back by themselves next year?
Hardy perennials.
What about multiply? Okay, I'm sorry. I got him cornered here. I don't see him very often. I ask him a bunch of questions. What about multiplying? I have a big plot next to my shop. I need to fill in the area. Will they multiply enough to cover there?
They won't necessarily. The ones we're selling at least won't run, but they will continue to sort of increase in width and kind of fill out like that. Now, asters are really, really, really tough plants. They're some of the longest lived perennials, in fact, that you can plant. They bloom in the fall, late summer and fall, and they're starting to flower now. And they're wonderful. They're great for pollinators. They bloom. They bloom, kind of for quite a spell through the fall. Some can bloom all the way into October, in fact. But they're great, and mums are great too. But you get maybe a little more bang for your buck with things like asters. And they're not, you can often find asters for sale this time of year as a sort of counterpart or a sort of other choice out there for mums, but there's really a lot of diversity out there. There's a lot of mums.
What color are asters?
A whole gamut of colors.
Oh, really?
Pinks, purples, blues, whites. It's really nothing sort of yellow or orange. All sort of in those kind of softer, richer colors. But they're fantastic. I wouldn't garden without them. And
so we may have to stop over.
You come down and see us. We just got a fresh shipment of things in for the garden shop, and we're giving them a try this year because people see them in the garden and then they wonder where they can get them, and so we're stocking a few up in the shop
nice.
this year. So
fantastic.
So yeah, people should come back.
All right, let's review again.
I was gonna say, this is why we love having him here. He's so knowledgeable about all this stuff. So head into the Botanical Garden anyway. See what's happening right now, but especially this Sunday.
Sunday, September 16th, we're screening this really great documentary about garden and planting designer Pete Outolf called 5 Seasons, and we really hope to see people out this weekend. You can get tickets online at dmbotanicalgarden.com.
Wonderful. Great to see you. Thank you so much for joining us.
It's always a pleasure.
Thank you.
It is.